So as a heads up, this will be a longer video, guys. I'm going to break it down into 2 parts for you, and you'll see what I mean. So with the announcement of the Elimination Chamber qualifying match is happening starting next Monday on Raw, leading to Chicago. We're pretty much going to go through sort of a lot of the scenarios, who I think can and will be in the Elimination Chamber match, whether it's number 1 contendership or for a title. You'll see what I mean. Again, this is going to be a 2-part. We're going to cover the men and the women, and we're going to get into it right now. So as we know, at WrestleMania, CM Punk will be defending the World Heavyweight title against Roman Reigns. That's already set in stone. So I don't really see a chamber match number 1 contendership being for Punk's world title, obviously. And it's more likely often than not that Punk will make it to WrestleMania as the WWE World Heavyweight Champion. But again, they like to throw the twists and the turns. So now I don't know if Punk will be in a one-on-one scenario for the chamber match, for the chamber pay-per-view, or he'll be defending the title in a chamber match against 5 other people. I can see either scenarios, and this is why we're going to start with the Raw division specifically, and you'll see what I mean. Now, when it comes to Finn Balor, I could see either 2 ways, and this is what I mean with Punk. They can either build this Finn story that they have with him potentially turning face, and this will lead to another match with Punk at the chamber pay-per-view, or Finn could be the one people that qualify for the chamber match, again, of which Punk could possibly defend the title in. Because I could see Punk, again, having a title match at the pay-per-view, whether it's inside the chamber or not. If it's not in the chamber with Punk, and he has a one-on-one match, I see this being the most likely scenario. And now again, another likely scenario I could see with CM Punk, if he does defend the title in the chamber, and this is a crazy one, this could be out here, but what if they have CM Punk sort of run the gauntlet in the chamber? You have Punk and up against the entire Vision and plus one other person in the chamber. So, but it's still essentially Punk basically running gauntlet against the entire Vision. You know, Theory, Breaker, Bronson, and what's his face up there. And again, maybe only half the Vision qualifies for the chamber. Maybe they all qualify for the chamber. Maybe they should get immediately put in the chamber due to Paul Heyman's shenanigans. Either way, that's one of the routes I could see happening. Now, let's say one or none of the Vision is the plan for the chamber. Who would go in the chamber to face against Punk? One of the names that's very likely is, again, Gunther. He's been on this career killer streak with Cena, Goldberg, and now AJ Styles. So I could see Gunther, especially considering the fact that in the Rumble, I could see him obviously being one of the people that would step into the chamber after winning the qualifying match. Another twist and turn you could do with the qualifying matches for the chamber, or just automatically get in for the chamber match, is a Brock Lesnar. We all know this is going to be Brock's final year in WWE. And Punk never really got a successful one-on-one pinfall against Lesnar. So I can see this being another scenario where they could throw Brock in as one of the many people, or one of the few people in the chamber match to go up against Punk. And it would make sense given on their history and considering Brock's status among hardcore and the casual fans. I could see it being something that is a likely idea, especially for Chicago. Now, someone else who, again, has been on a hot streak lately that I could see going to the chamber just for, multitude of reasons. It'd be a good showing. A lot of the high spots can be done. And there's a lot of good scenarios why I can see Javon Evans being one of the people that can qualify or could also be in the chamber match against Punk because of his growing popularity. It'd be a very good showing again. And I think he'd be a very good person in the chamber. I think back to people like, RVD, Rey Mysterio, and Kofi Kingston. How have they done in the chamber? Do I see Javon again, being an upset winner? No, and I could say that for the other men, Brock Lesnar and Gunther. I don't never see them winning because I see Punk going all the way to Mania to face Roman. I don't really see a shock title change in that regard. But I do see Javon Evans having a good position in there. Now, another person I can very obviously see being in the chamber, going up against Punk, winning the qualifiers in some regard, is the returning LA Knight. He just came back. He has a grudge against the Vision, and that's why I say if the Vision, all 4 of them, somehow get into the chamber against Punk, I can see LA Knight being basically the other babyface in that scenario, essentially aligning with Punk just to escape the chamber. Not necessarily with Punk's title intact in LA's point of view, but still. But either way, I could still see LA Knight being in the Raw side of the men's chamber match if that is the direction they go with. And of course, one final name I had to really put out there of all the people that have a possibility. I just wanted to throw Penta's name in there, mainly because, you know, they always have him dancing around the main event scene. Never necessarily gotten a push for the World Heavyweight title, but again, he's one of the people I get to see in the chamber on the road to WrestleMania. Not necessarily, I'm not sure how good of a showing he would be. He would necessarily be the winner, obviously, but he's someone I can see winning the qualifying matches and going on to Chicago if they decide to go that route for the Raw men's division. Now again, I've talked a lot about, CM Punk obviously defending the title in Chicago, whether it's in a chamber or not. But when it comes to a chamber match, and 6 people involving such, I actually think there's more of a contentious side for the SmackDown side. Obviously, you have Drew McIntyre as the champion, and again, he could defend the title, or another likely scenario, like I said with number contenders, they get to decide the number contender for Drew in the chamber, or again, have Drew defend in the chamber, and these are all the men I think could be in that scenario along with Drew, if they go that route. Now, obviously, I could see Cody Rhodes being a member in the Elimination Chamber match. I could see him qualifying for such. And again, we don't know how the chamber match are going to be structured, but he's definitely someone I could see going in the chamber to go get his revenge on Drew. Whether it's number one contendership or just a straight title match in itself. But Cody's already got, and he never got his title rematch technically, so I could see him just doing it just because. Not only that, he basically has the biggest bone to pick with McIntyre. Where do they go with the alleged singles match or triple threat or not? If they don't go with the triple threat with Fatu, then I can see this being the way that Cody gets his shot back at Drew McIntyre for Mania, or one of the people that just goes up against Drew while he's defending the title in the chamber. So many routes. Now, again, not that I don't see Fatu in the triple threat or not. I think the triple threat at Mania is a good idea for him and Drew and Cody. Again, so many scenarios with the chamber. I could see Fatu competing in the chamber, winning a qualifier just because, because of the run he's been and how he's been in the mix with Cody and Drew. So whether Drew defends the title in the chamber or not, I can see Jacob being one of the people that chases it on Drew's side, the SmackDown men's side, whether it's for the title or not, or for a number contendership or not. He fits in both scenarios. Now, a couple more. Now, outside of those 3, a few more men I can see trying to qualify for the chamber, whether it's number one contendership or for the title, is Randy Orton. He got eliminated by Cody. He told Cody that he's now coming for the title regardless if he's champion or not. And obviously, Randy Orton has competed in so many elimination chambers that I don't see why he wouldn't be in this one either, since he now wants to become a 15-time world champion. Now, speaking of world champions that, he hasn't really won a world title, but I don't see a reason why I can't see Sami Zayn having a qualifier match for a chamber, title or number one contendership or not. He's been more serious in his decree to become world champion. This is probably basically the last shot for Mania in that sense. So I can see him being desperate to get into the chamber match, whatever the qualifying match is or how it's structured. I could just see that happening. Sami is definitely going to be in that chamber. He wants to get to that chamber. I can see that happening. He's one of the people. Another one that's an obvious one for the chamber, I could just see going in there just because they want the world championship back, is Damian Priest. His luck has been up and down with, with the likes of Obafemi and Aleister Black. But I can see him being the ones that want the title back, win a qualifying match, and being in the chamber. I could just see it. Not really much else there because, they've been like high and low with Priest. And I'm going to throw this last name in just because Aleister Black, he hasn't returned yet. I could see him returning for a qualifying match in the chamber. I think he would have a good showing. But other than that, I'm not sure what they were going to do with Black on the road to WrestleMania, so we'll have to see. So you can see why this is going to be a longer video, because my thoughts on all of this. They can go so many ways with the Elimination Chamber qualifying matches and how the chamber match is going to be structured this year for the PLE. But I don't have much time left, so I'm going to end things here. We're going to look forward to part 2 where we discuss the women. But for now, let me know, you guys, what you think in the comments down below. Like the video, get out to the rest of the algorithms. I'll see you guys for part 2. Thanks for listening to me on this one. I'll see you guys another day. What's going on, wrestling fans? We're here for part 2. We were talking about the Elimination Chamber qualifying matches starting next Monday on Raw. This edition, we're talking about the women's division, who I can see being the Elimination Chamber match, who would be the going in as defending champion. One thing though I want to shout out real quick. Last video in part 1, I went over the men's division. I forgot to shout out Trick Williams. I don't know how I forgot him the first time around. I definitely think he has a very high chance of getting a spot in the Elimination Chamber, but that's out of the way quick. Now let's get to the women's division. So very quick, I don't see Stephanie Vaquer defending the world title in the Elimination Chamber or at the pay-per-view really because of the storyline between the Judgment Day. I think collectively between now and Mania, the Judgment Day is going to be the more of the focus for the next few weeks going into Mania with this feud with Stephanie. I think the real story is going to be between Liv, Raquel, and the rest of the Judgment Day, and the kind of, I think we're finally going to see the fall of the Judgment Day going into Mania. I think Liv's going to be ending up pretty much all alone in that scenario, minus except Dom Mysterio. But that being said, I don't really see that title being defended at Elimination Chamber. I actually see a much heavier contention for the SmackDown side, which we'll get into. Now, while there's a big enough of a roster on the SmackDown women's side that could be in the Elimination Chamber, I do want to shout out a few of the Raw superstars that they could throw in there if they really wanted to, even though I think the SmackDown side itself already has enough women. For example, behind me, Roxanne Perez. She doesn't really have a current big picture story going into Chamber or Mania, so I think she's someone that could qualify if need be. Another few women I could see on the Raw side qualifying for the Elimination Chamber match if they decide to do so would be Becky and Lyra. Unless they do something with these two of only the Bella Twins, I think they also have a fair shot of going into the Elimination Chamber just because they're not really being used in a predominant storyline. Again, this could change on Monday, but I'm just saying I think another two, or one if not both, have a good shot. And when it comes to the Raw women's side, I think the person with the biggest chance to qualify for the Chamber match is Becky, only because I don't know if they're going to focus the Maxine Natty storyline around her, or it's going to be a whole separate thing. Plus, if Becky qualifies for the Chamber, it would be another good reason for AJ to come back, because I think the big story going to Mania is going to be AJ and Becky for the IC title. So this could be a good way to start that within the Chamber. But that being said, I think the SmackDown side has a much better contention for it. So let's get into that right now. So I am one of the few people that will say that because of how the women's division has been looking like lately on the SmackDown side, that there is a contention for how many title defenses Jade has done. So if you really want to build more of Jade's title reign and her as a champion, I think her defending the title in the Chamber would be a good showing for that. And while people are saying there's not enough women on the SmackDown side, I think there's a lot of women on the SmackDown side that if they decide just to do the qualifying matches within the SmackDown women's roster, that's fine. Because there's plenty of women that I can see qualifying and being inside the Chamber to go against Jade for the match. For example, they've really been trying to push Julie as a serious star on the roster. I think her having showing and a qualifying in the Chamber would be good for her. Now, you could argue that she should be defending that belt herself in the next few weeks. That also could happen as a side story. Her and Kiana, I believe, also have a contention in the tag title scene, so we'll have to see where that goes. But I think Julia is someone that could qualify and be in the Chamber. Now, Jordynne Grace, I think, is the most obvious choice for the Chamber if they go that route with Jade. They've already been building to this for a few weeks now. Now, again, you could argue that this would be the Mania match. However, I kind of see, I don't know if Bianca Belair is actually going to return by Mania, but that's something they could run with for Mania if they decide to go that way with Jade. But I think Jordynne has the biggest chances of getting in the Chamber match for that title. Another woman that I think has a guaranteed shot in the Chamber match is Lash Legend. They're clearly pushing her to the moon. She probably had arguably the best showing in the women's Rumble match with everyone she eliminated, like Hall of Famers, top of the stars. So I definitely think she has a very, very high chance of being in the Chamber. Again, just for a very decent showing to continue her push to the top of the women's division in general. And of course, had to mention Tiffany Stratton. She just returned, had a good showing in the Rumble as well. Big pop. I think she also has a very high chance of being in the Chamber match. She is a former champion. She has been out for a few months. I think she's going to be a very prominent character going forward between now and Mania. I don't know what her Mania story is going to end up looking at, but as far as the Chamber goes, I think her and Jade, again, were basically the longest rivalry for SmackDown over the summer. So I could definitely see them trying to run that back via the Chamber. It would be something fresh between those two. Now this one, I think they're going to go with, just because of the online conversations over the last few weeks, with Chelsea not being exactly a top contender in the booking eyes. She's just someone that elevates other people in the eyes of the company. But with how fans are slowly gravitating towards her, I think they're going to put her in the Chamber match. Again, not necessarily to have a good showing or as the company sees as to put other people over. I think they're going to put her in there just so the fans are happy. And again, I don't think Chelsea has ever been in the Chamber, so she would just take that opportunity and run with it like everything else. And lastly, the last woman I'm going to name, who I think is going to be an underrated choice on this list, is Zelina Vega. She's been in the Chamber. I think she's been in the Chamber once before, and I know she, like Chelsea, would take the ball and absolutely run with it. She is a former Queen of the Ring. She is a former US champion. And while people might not take her seriously against Jade and some of the other contenders, I think she has a well-deserved place in the qualifiers and in the Chamber itself going forward. All in all, like I said before, I think each of those women, both Raw and SmackDown, have a justified and a very high chance of getting through the qualifiers. I don't know what's going to be paired up with in said matches. I don't know if we'll find out more on SmackDown later on tonight. We'll see. But I definitely think the choice to have a Chamber match for the women's side is Jade defending with the women's world title. Like all the reasons I said before with the Raw side, and I think another big win like this under her belt going into Mania is definitely needed. Now, at the time of recording this, I don't think they've announced anything for SmackDown yet tonight. I'll have to double check and see, but so far, that has been my list. Thank you for sticking around for part 1 and 2 of this video. I'm going to edit these two together and put it out on YouTube as a full thing. So I'll probably put in the link for my YouTube in the bio if I haven't already. Also in this video as well. So comment, like down below, share your thoughts on the Chamber matches, the qualifying matches, everything that's going to be going on between now and then. Even your thoughts on SmackDown. And I will see you guys on the next topic for the video. I've been Omega1, signing off. You guys have a good day and enjoy SmackDown.